Hey everyone, Cal OSHA is actively drafting a Title VIII workplace violence prevention standard for general industry. There's already a standard for healthcare, and since July 2024, nearly all California employers have been required to have workplace violence programs in place. My experience with this rule started back in 2018, and it's been an interesting journey for both Cal OSHA and stakeholders. I'm Helen Cleary, founder and leader of the OSH Protary, a network and platform for OSH leaders. And this is the first video in a series on the general industry workplace violence standard. Workplace violence prevention really sits at the intersection of safety and security, and you see that in how organizations manage it. For some, it lives with security. For others, it's HR, and others, it's EHS. For many, it's shared across teams. But regardless of who owns it internally, this will be a Title VIII occupational safety and health standard, and what Cal OSHA decides is critical for EHS professionals to understand. So how did we get here? This rulemaking started with the petition in 2015, and drafting technically began in 2017. So yes, it's been a long road. But over the years, Cal OSHA worked with stakeholders from many perspectives and was making progress. Then COVID-19 hit, and all active rulemaking work paused, attention shifted to the COVID-19 regulations. But in May 2022, Cal OSHA was back on track and released a new general industry workplace violence draft. And it was a solid draft. But for some, it wasn't moving fast enough and it wasn't specific enough. So in 2023, the California legislature stepped in with SB 553, which added very specific employer requirements directly into the labor code. And that's unusual for three primary reasons. One, they didn't use Cal OSHA's draft. Instead of taking the draft Cal OSHA had been working on since 2017, they expanded and tried to borrow requirements from the healthcare workplace violence rule. Fortunately, advocates were able to show that what works in healthcare doesn't necessarily work in every other type of workplace, and positive changes were made. Second, they bypassed the usual OSH rulemaking process. Typically, legislation identifies an issue and directs Cal OSHA to develop it. Cal OSHA's safety engineers and hygienists, they do the drafting, an economic assessment is done, the standards board, the Occupational Safety and Health Standards Board reviews, votes to adopt it, then the Office of Administrative Law, OAL, reviews and approves it. That is the rulemaking process. Third, stakeholder collaboration normally happens, and early. Employers, labor, and the public work together to shape OSH requirements, and that's where real-world operational input usually comes in. Another important point is Cal OSHA enforcement is done under Title VIII, not the Labor Code. But SB 553 bypassed much of that. It created specific employer obligations and placed them directly in the Labor Code. It gave employers a deadline of July 2024 to implement programs, and it gave Cal OSHA the authority to enforce those Labor Code requirements. It also directed Cal OSHA to create a Title VIII standard using SB 553 as the minimum requirements and present it to the Standards Board by the end of 2025. So that's where we are now. Cal OSHA is in pre-rulemaking for a Title VIII workplace violence standard. The December 31st board submittal deadline will not be met, but the agency is moving forward. The first discussion draft was published in July 2024, followed by the first advisory meeting in January of this year. In May 2025, the revised draft was published, and on November 12th, the second advisory meeting was held. It was a full 6 hours in Oakland. I was there in person for the OSH Protary. We engaged with Cal OSHA and other stakeholders, sharing our recommendations, concerns, practical feedback. There was robust discussion, and the work is very much ongoing. So why should this matter to EHS professionals? You may not personally own your organization's workplace violence prevention plan. It might sit with security, HR, legal, or it could be yours in EHS, but it's still critical to understand how we got here and how this standard is being built and where there's room to improve it for the future. And that's exactly what we do at the OSH Protary. We work with members to develop strategies that improve OSH standards and bring operational reality into the rulemaking process. So follow us for more insight on the EHS industry and on Cal OSHA rulemaking. Better reach out about membership. And watch for our next video, which will break down specific workplace violence requirements in the Title VIII draft.